What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of What is Health. And today, do you need a gallbladder to do keto? Alright guys, so this is a topic that I'm really excited about. I feel like there's not a lot of information on this topic. I see people ask it way too often. I don't have a gallbladder. I don't have a gallbladder. Or they don't even try keto. They don't even ask because they assume because they don't have a gallbladder that they can't do it. And I've Googled it, and while some people briefly touch it in their vlogs and their YouTube videos, there's not a lot of like direct, okay, let's talk about this subject. And so I really think that this is going to be advantageous for a lot of people. I think it's going to help bring clarity to exactly what's going on. So first we have to understand, what is a gallbladder? So a gallbladder is in your digestive tract. I'll show you a photo here. It concentrates bile, okay? It concentrates bile. That's key. Understand that it lets bile build up in it, and then when fat is eaten, bile is released, and it helps break down and absorb those fatty acids. So bile is something that we need essentially to be able to break down fats that we eat, turn them into proper fatty acids, absorb them, and utilize them. So biles are very important. There's no doubt about that. Now let's go back real quick. Understand, I said concentrate bile. I did not say make bile. Your gallbladder does not make bile. Your liver is what makes bile. Your liver makes bile, transfers it to the gallbladder. The gallbladder concentrates it and releases it as fatty acids come into the digestive tract, okay? Now here's another photo. It's gonna take me a while to find this one, so feel special. This is a liver that has the bile ducts in it enlarged, okay, from someone that had the gallbladder removed years past. So what does this tell us? This tells us that our body is very adaptive, and it can adapt to a situation. In this kind of situation where the gallbladder is removed, we actually see that our liver will open up the bile ducts more that it has to help store more bile to compensate for not having a gallbladder anymore. That's insane on itself. Absolutely insane that your body adapts in such a way. So understand that if your gallbladder is removed, you are still creating bile. Why is it important? Because if your gallbladder is what made your bile and it was removed, you would not be able to eat a single gram of fat. You would get sick from fat in general because you wouldn't be able to process it. It literally would do nothing for you. It would just it would just make you feel terrible. And granted, if you eat a lot of fat at once, it definitely can, which is, it's funny that we're talking about gallbladders and keto because then you're like, well, keto is a bunch of fat. But we'll get to that in a second. But understand that if the gallbladder is what made bile, there would be a huge discrepancy there because if it was removed, it'd be like, well, you can't eat any fat, right? And you see people that don't have their gallbladders that, eat cheeseburgers and all of that stuff. And, which is still a lot of fat, but nothing's happening, right? So obviously there's a miscommunication there. And what's going on is that the gallbladder isn't what makes bile. And I know a lot of people think that. But the liver is what makes the bile. And in fact, it can make plenty. And it also, like I said, will enlarge its ducts to store more. Now, it's not as much as the gallbladder could concentrate. Remember, the gallbladder, its only role was to store bile. So, and it's really good at its job. So the liver compensates, but I'm not going to say that it's as super efficient. So what can we do? A ketogenic diet, as we know, is a high-fat, adequate protein, low-carbohydrate diet. Okay, and so obviously there's going to be a lot of fats, anywhere from 70 to 80% fat, depending on what you feel best at, is going to be coming into your system. Those are large amounts of fat quite often throughout the day and week. So how do we deal with this in a way that can be conducive to what we're trying to do and can be really good for us to help us adapt? So the first thing you can do is start with lower fat. So instead of starting at 75, which are like standard ketogenic macros, start at 70% fat, and then every week add 1% to that, or 0.5%, right? So that would look something like, you start at, let's say, 200 grams of fat and 100 grams of protein, or 120 grams of protein. Basically what you do is every week you could add 5 grams of fat and then take away like 5 or 10 grams of protein. Or let's do like a strict 70%, or you do one-on-one. So you could do like 100 grams of fat, 100 grams of protein. That way it's pretty even keel. And then every week up your fat by 5 or 10 grams and then lower that protein by 5 or 10 grams. And slowly, that way the calories stay pretty similar. Obviously, if you're trying to build muscle, you're reverse dieting, feel free to leave the protein where it's at and just add fat. But if you're trying to maintain a certain caloric amount, 5 grams of fat is roughly the same amount of calories as 10 grams of protein. So that's a great way to play with that if you want to. Those are just examples. Obviously, 100 grams of fat and 100 grams of protein is roughly 1,300 calories. You should not be eating that little. It's just an example for number's sake. So basically, start a little bit lower on fat and a little bit, higher on protein, and then up that fat and lower that protein and give your body time to adjust. But do not start below 70% because you're already going to be adjusting a metabolic energy substrate. Like, you're going to be going from being carb-based to fat-based. You do not want to eat less than 70 because you're going to feel miserable because your body's still trying to adapt and become fat adapted. So 70 is a good starting point. Something else you can do is not eat huge meals. I know intermittent fasting is a great thing when it comes to keto. Everybody wants to do it. But if you find yourself eating 100 grams of fat at every single meal, you're eating 2 meals a day in a window, you're going to feel terrible. So instead, don't worry about intermittent fasting right at first. Eat 3-4 meals a day. No reason to do 6 or 7, all that crazy bodybuilding stuff. But 3 meals a day with maybe a snack, and give your body time to assimilate those fats in smaller increments. That's another great way to adjust. The third is to do some kind of bile salts, like from an ox bile or bovine. I really encourage doing the beef-based ones, the mammal-based ones, and not synthetic bile. I just truly believe that nature is better. I would say the same thing if like someone's trying to take a pharmaceutical adrenal medication. I'm not a doctor, but I would definitely encourage them getting some kind of like adrenal glandular or nutraceutical and seeing if maybe tapering off that pharmaceutical and doing the more natural route would be healthier for them. Of course, I'm not a doctor. I don't diagnose nor tell people to get off medications, but I personally like going more of the natural route other than the pharmaceutical route. So those are 3 great options in helping your body adjust. So to wrap it around, yes, the answer is yes. You can totally do keto without a gallbladder. It's totally doable. Your body is this amazing machine that can adapt to almost any environment. And if you take your time and you're patient and you do it right, your body will adapt to a ketogenic lifestyle without a gallbladder and you'll be just fine. All right, guys, let me know if that makes sense. Put your questions in the comment section below. Let me know what else you want me to talk about. I'm going to keep throwing out these videos. This What is Health series has been really fun. I think we're at episode 15 right now. So I've been having fun. I hope you've been enjoying it. Give the video a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Share this with people that you feel need to hear it. Please, road to 10K. We're going to get after it, guys. I love y'all. Till next time.